MPower. We hear that word everywhere in education. Empower students, empower teachers, empower leaders. But what happens when you go beyond just empowering individuals? What happens when you multiply that power through storytelling, fellowship, and honesty? That's empower with an M. That stands for so much more. More connection, more support, more impact, more Black male voices in education. Join us as we hear from some of those voices. Good afternoon. Cornelius Dukes here with my co-host, Miles Williams, brother. Appreciate you for coming in and hollering at me. Today, bro, we gonna walk through your journey. You know, you're taking a big leap of faith right now as you're stepping away. So we'll talk through, you know, why you're choosing to step away and what's next for you.
Yeah.
I think just to introduce, you know, empowering how Miles and I, how we met, you know, a few years back in New Orleans. I sat down with Patrick Dobar, who was the former superintendent of the Recovery School District and the former CEO of New Schools for New Orleans. And I met Patrick at a time where, you know, I wanted to step away, didn't know what was next, what to do. You know, I didn't see brothers like me in the space and just felt so siloed and alone. And he had a conversation with me, and at the end of our conversation, he challenged me to, well, bro, you got all these these grievances, and, you know, if you say there are more people like you in the city, let's get them together. And so by the end of that conversation, I had a listserv of, you know, Miles, you were included, and so many other Black leaders here in the city. And, you know, quickly, we realized that space was a space that was so needed for the educators here in New Orleans. And so that's how Miles and I, that's how we developed our relationship, which brings me to Empower. And so as a educator and a leader, just being in the space, you know, every year I was wanting to quit education. I mean, it had nothing to do with the communities that I was serving. It had nothing to do with the students, but everything to do with the bureaucracy of education. Nobody looked like me in the spaces, and so I started to coach other Black men in the space that were like, man, I'm quitting after this year. This you know, it's just too hard, it's too tough. And so it brought me to create Empower, which is a space developed for Black male leaders to help develop them and just create a space for them. And so again, Miles being a pivotal part of Empower and the content of what we have going on there. And so, yeah, bro, welcome, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. I've had the pleasure of being on a lot of different podcasts and do a lot of different projects. And I think that everyone sees like the polished version of everything, but they don't see like you seeing like the behind the scenes, right? How hard it is to make it happen. And so I'm grateful to be here, man, be able to talk and share a little bit about my journey. I think transitioning from being a principal right now is like, even though I think it's been a long time coming, or feel like a long time coming, I'm literally one day away removed from like being in the seat, and it feels weird, man. So I'm excited to be like have a little therapy session where I'm fucked up.
That's dope, bro. I'm sitting here, I'm like thinking about the decision, bro. It's like you work your ass off to get to that seat, and those folks that are, you know, not in the education space, you know, Black males, we make up less than 2 to 3% of educators nationally, and that number is even smaller when you think about leaders. And so to even be a principal, to have that seat, that quarterback seat, I mean, the sacrifices and the blood, sweat, and tears that you had to put in to get that seat, and for you to make the conscious decision, you know, that you empowered it, the empowering decision to say, bro, everything's actually pretty cool. You know, I don't have to leave, you know, but I'm in this journey in my life. You're not being forced out. You are like choosing to leave. And I think this goes to my next question, bro. Like, what the hell, bro? What
Yeah, man.
What the hell is up with that damn decision, bro? Like, what's the real reason you stepping away, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm tired, bro.
Yeah,
I'm tired, man. I think so. When I was 16 years old, I wanted to be a school leader. It's something I decided I wanted to do, and like was like chasing that dirt, man. And I've always been a person who like I put something in front of it, I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like really proud of that. And at the same time, I didn't think I was going to become a principal at 27, 28 years old. I just didn't anticipate it. I was grateful when it happened, but it also was on the heels of the pandemic. Like hybrid model, our school was growing from a kindergarten through eighth school. At the time, it was a pre-K through fourth grade, fifth grade school, to a pre-K through eighth grade school, like while the pandemic was happening. And so a lot of turnover. We're adding more people, creating systems and structure. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And being in my seat, there's a lot of things that were happening there. And I put everything I had into it. And I realized, like, maybe like a year or so ago, a little over a year ago, like, this ain't sustainable.
Yeah.
You know? And if I want to be able to live like a life that's happy and healthy, like, I need to be able to end this chapter and then begin a new one. And so try to do that to the best of my ability, and happy to be right here.
Oh, bro. It's funny as I'm hearing you talk. You and I, we had a conversation not too long ago, and so when you say you put everything in it, you literally did. Tell a story, bro, about how you walk outside. Your car was sitting.
Oh, bro.
Your car was sitting on a brick.
Man, listen.
You really put everything.
Get real with it. Look. So yeah, brother. I think that's a really good point, bro. Because I forgot. I sacrificed it all. Right? Something every part of me has been a part of that community, bro. And so I remember one day, it was like mid-pandemic. Like, we all had masks on and stuff. 10 o'clock in the morning, someone comes to me, is like, "Hey, the tires are off your car." And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Hey, the tires are off your car." And I was like, whatever. So I walked out there. Man, my car was on cinder block.
Yeah,
bro. All like, it looked like a spaceship. Like, and I ain't got like a flashy car. I got a black 2012 Honda Accord, bro. Coupe. Like, I take good care of it.
Yeah.
Man, keep it clean. A block from the school, bro. Took all 4 of my tires, bro. And I had to go back in. And I went back into school and like, led the rest of the day, and then try to figure it out after, bro. And like,
That's crazy.
and like, it's funny when I look back on it, but also it's like, bro, I was doing that. I was on TV at the time. A principal in a school building that's like unstable, and teachers are upset and tired, kids are upset and tired, families are anxious because they can't come in the building, and like, trying to still lead with compassion and love and empathy was hard.
For sure, bro. Yeah, that's hilarious, bro. And speaking of being on TV, bro, like, how did your identity as a black man, a public figure, and a leader, like, complicated the decision for you to say, "Hey, bro, like, I'm walking away"?
Yeah, it was hard, man. I think what I'm struggling with right now is like a little bit of like identity crisis, right? I was a student athlete growing up, and I was known as a student athlete. I played sports. I went to school from 4 to 21, 22, right? And after football ended, I knew it was going to end at this day. I still knew I could prepare myself as much as possible, but also was like, what am I outside of being a football player? What am I outside of being a student athlete? And now I'm known as someone who's a public figure on social media or on TV. But primarily I've been wanting to be known as an educator and a principal. And now I know, when someone asks me what I do now, I'm gonna say, I don't know what I do, right? But I'm excited to be a part of that journey and figuring out, like, I know there's so many other parts of me who I am, but like, I don't have a title anymore, right? What's that? What am I? Who am I?
Yeah. Angry, bro. That's an interesting point. I think, and again, just for context of folks that are just not in this space, in terms of, being a black male leader of a school, folks don't really look at the landscape of leading a school. You are the CEO. And when I say a CEO, and I think of it as a Fortune 500 company because of, the students and, the impact, your impact that is having in the lives of children. And so, as you think through, like, your next steps, your identity, you and I, we've had conversations about even struggling with our identity in the school building as a principal, right? And I think that, to your point, not necessarily knowing, where you are right now in terms of, how you're gonna look to your identity. But I think my question to you, bro, is like, with your identity wrapped up in that, while you're in the building, I am a leader, I'm a principal, in that moment when you're like, hey, yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Like, what did that feel like? And what was that moment?
This is a combination of moments, bro. I think when I realized that my health wasn't in a good place, like physically, mentally, emotionally, when I realized that, like, I've missed significant portions of my family's life because all my family's on the East Coast. And so I realized I missed significant portions of their life. And for example, my grandparents, they're like the mid 80s, lived in Southern Maryland my whole life and been married for like 60 years. They're still in good health, physically, mentally, all that. And I was like, I see them typically during Christmas break, winter break, and maybe in the summertime. So maybe I might see them twice a year. And I was doing the math, bro, and I'm like, all right, I'm lucky I got 10 more years with them. And if I got 10 more years with them, and I see them twice a year, I'm only gonna see my grandparents 20 more times, right? And if I'm thinking about that, and then I'm giving everything I got to this school building and community who, in hindsight, is grateful for me and misses me, but day to day, don't.
Yeah.
They don't care. Like, I'm like, hold up, like I need to reevaluate my priorities right now, and figure out what I need to do to make sure that I can spend more time with them, but then also I can take more time for myself and take care of me.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think in terms of like the care, you spoke on that. And, earlier I spoke about the group that we formed, Young, Educated, and Black, which was a homage to Lorraine Hansberry, with her book To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. And with MPower, we speak about creating this space for care for each other, because again, it is silo work. It is lonely. You're in that seat. There's not one other person in that building that understands or that's going through what you're going through on the day to day. With that being said, how do you feel like, the weight of that responsibility of the day to day, how you think that's going to translate into you, waking up, on the first day of school, going into the next school year, and you're like, man, I actually don't have to worry about, who coming into work, if I'm calling out.
Man, I had a taste of it yesterday. It was the first day we didn't have kids in the building yet. And like, yeah, I haven't felt that peace going into the building in a long time. I don't think people understand the people who care, right? If we were passionate about what they do, how much you're constantly on like alert. Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety, making sure that your staff is taken care of, your kids are taken care of, your family's taken care of. And on top of just the normal day-to-day things that happen. The bus is late. Cafeteria is missing some milk. Like it's like little things, bro, that like can really disrupt people's days, And so I'm excited to be able to put that same intention to myself or to the project. I've never done that before. And honestly, that feels harder than running the school, to be real with you. Yeah, like to consistently like take care of yourself and like put the same systems and structure in place for yourself, bro. Like I haven't done it, and I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, bro, you said that. Yeah, I think it is super hard to do that. We created this back channel with our cohort members at MPower where we're texting each other. Hey, bro, you say you was going to the gym on Saturday. Did you go? And the intentionality behind taking care of yourself, how important that has to be. As we talk about like the decision that you're making with, stepping away, when you think about, the good things that, happen in that school building, and in that community, and when things were going good, what made the seat feel heavy in those good moments?
I think what I realized, the power that we have in terms of making decisions, or like when I'm in a room or I'm not in a room, what could take place or will not take place, and like that's a heavy decision. I think about one kid in particular right now who family situation is not the best. As a result, their behavior is not the best. And so if you see on face value, like the behavior that you're seeing would frustrate anybody. However, like this kid one is a kid, and two, if they didn't have us present or us advocating for them, nobody's advocating for them. And when I realized that when I'm in a room, things shift. That was like, okay, like I need to be in as many rooms as possible, or I need to help coach people to be able to be advocates in the same way, or be able to get to the desired result in the same way. And like that's a lot of power. It's a lot of privilege. And those things, I think majority of those decisions that we were able to make, were positive ones for families in that community. And I'm grateful for that.
That's dope, bro. I think about something you named earlier in terms of, your decision to leave. And it's like, if Tommy just is pouring and taking care of yourself. I think for me, as a former school leader as well, I think even now I still have challenges with that. and pouring into myself. And the hardest part for me to leave the community when I was like, yeah, all right, it's time to go, and the walk away from that principal seat was the commitment I made to the city of New Orleans, the commitment that I made to the communities that I serve. And when I first started teaching here, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I tell you, bro, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I had a student. His name was Terrence Williams, and unfortunately, he died to gun violence, and had many students, after that. And I took that so personally, bro.
Yeah.
I took it so personally, it was the biggest part, for why I needed to walk away from the seat. And it was the hardest part for me to actually walk away from the seat. And as you sit and think about, and I'm sure, you'll be driving, a month from now, you'll think about like something great that has happened in the building, or an impact that you've had. What's the biggest thing you say, you want your legacy to be, what you want your families and the community to say about you, in your role in leadership?
Yeah. I think so. This week was a culmination of like all the love and affirmation that families and kids could give you. Things that like people I've never heard people say out there not before or write to me before. And one of the things that it seemed like it'd be a theme that I really appreciated was that like folks knew that I loved and cared about them, and that I was doing whatever I could to the best of my ability for kids. And like at the end of the day, it's all you really ask for, right? Like that people know that you care about them, and that you try to put them in the best position possible to be successful. I think like we can talk test scores, we can talk, all that data is important, but like that stuff matters so much more, man, in the grand scheme of it all. And so I think that's all my legacy to be.
That's what's up, bro. I think something you name in terms of like data, and of course, if you're in the space of education, I mean, you know the Dow, and in terms of like our black children, are, especially you put black boy next to any measurement in academics, right? I mean, they are the lowest. And so with the brutal facts of what is happening in education, everything that's happening with our government, lack of funding, and the uncertainty there, how do you think that plays on your decision to walk away from the seat right now?
Yeah, I think it feels like the right time. Like it feels like the right time and the wrong time, right? It's like education. I'm not gonna find no job in education right now. I mean, I could, but like I'm not trying to go to school right now. And so what does it mean to be able to transfer those skills to something else that's not education? But then on the flip side, I mean, the budget crisis that our city, country,
Yeah.
state are in, like, it's a lot. And to know that there's hardworking teachers in that building, hardworking students in that building, and families who are relying on resources to be able to make sure things happen, and know that that's getting cut and continuing to get cut, like that's a really hard reality.
Yeah. How do you like your next chapter, right? And we kind of spoke a little bit on this, and just not necessarily uncertainty, but just the calm, and like just waking up and getting a design to focus on you. What do you want redefining leadership outside of, like, how do you want that to look? You redefining principalship outside of that best school building.
Yeah, man. I wanted to be all the joyful parts of you in school.
Yeah.
I wanted to be, the problem solving, the creating. Like I'm really excited about the opportunity to be a little more creative and get into writing more and reading more. Like I haven't read a book front to back consistently, like that wasn't school related, in a long time, bro. Like a long time. I haven't been able to just go in the middle of the day and see what New Orleans is like. I have no idea what New Orleans looks like between the hours of like between 7 and 5, bro. I have no clue what's happening in New Orleans during the week. Like, right?
It's real.
I have no clue what it looks like, bro. Like, and so I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to enjoy the summer. I realized that the last 6 summers I've been working, bro. 7 summers I've been working. Because I've never really had a summer off, and that's one of the biggest perks of being an educator.
Right.
Everyone's like, you get a break. You get break. No, hell no, I ain't got a break in a long time. And so being able to enjoy that, man, and then I think also just traveling, bro. I'm excited to like. I think one thing that'd be really cool is to be able to. One of the things I do already when I travel to different like other states or countries, mostly college countries, is just go in a school building and like see what that's like.
Oh wow.
And like to be able to see like how do these people learn? Yeah, like what's important to them and what's a school that look like?
Yeah.
I think being able to do that would be real cool.
Hell yeah, that's dope. And you say that, I traveled the country and go into different schools. And I think what's always amazing is, when you go into a community where like just you can see the culture in the building.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, like test scores, yeah, all that matters. But to see that not being like, paraded in front of kids and they can actually be them when true selves, man, it's something dope. Bro, what in terms of and you said something earlier and just like you never read a book from front to cover just because of your day and folks that might not know what you're talking about. I mean, we wake up, we're the first ones in the building as a principal, and we're the last one to leave as a principal. And on your way home, you're getting phone calls, you're responding. And as you wake up to go to the building, you're responding to fires and things like that. So you might not know what it looks like when the sun is up between, a certain time because you are literally like dug in and focused. And during our MPower retreat, what I loved, and I actually captured you on the dope picture, bro, in our journaling exercise.
Sure.
And folks like really just taking that space and that time to actually, damn, I actually don't get a chance to do it and actually just sitting there in journaling. So yeah, I think that's dope. What in terms of a title, you talked about reading and writing. If you could say right now a title you're claiming outside of like that building, what would that be?
I'll say I'm a dreamer. Like I really I dream big, and like I think one of my strengths or gifts is I have a lot of vision. Like I'm able to like see like how something can be. I think being in principal seat, I learned a lot about like my area, that being a strength, but also like how I can be much better in terms of getting more granular, like to the details of things. But also, I also know that I have people who are really good at that. My friends like I hire people, or rely on people who are really good at that to be able to execute the vision. So, I'm excited to be able to do that for some of my own like projects and things that I'm interested in. I mean, I think one of the things that you just alluded to was I didn't get there a lot of time to like read, but I did it a lot of time to like write. Like I feel like I documented so much. Like this is a part of my like just process and write a lot, or we'll document them on a video and like transcribe it or whatever. And so I'm excited to be able to go back and like see my growth over this time, or our school's growth over this time, so that I can use that to help other folks, but also be able to just like reflect on it and see how much I've grown this time.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. What do you wish somebody would have said to you when you first became principal?
Um, I don't know if it's something that people could say because I'm realizing that like words don't mean as much, but I think like them forcing me to take care of myself or create systems of care, because until like maybe last year, year before that, um, I didn't really have a community that was taking care of me while I was trying to do this work. And I think that part, absent a community, is really, really hard. Like you have to have just like I feel like teachers at least have each other, you know, other like mid-level leaders have each other, but not a lot of people are at this level, right? And when you're at that level, being able to have other people who are doing similar stuff in New Orleans being so different in that all these charter schools are different, like CMOs or whatever. We're not experiencing the same thing, but at least we understand the seat. And so being able to have other folks who are just doing this work and like reminding you that you're a human, I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. You touched on that. I think even like even when I was in the principal seat, if it wasn't for my secretary at the time, getting me lunch, bro, or bringing me there, like I literally would not have eaten. And there were a lot of times where I didn't eat, and so just your mental health, your physical health is just so important. And I do think it's super important to have folks that are in that seat that you or have been in that seat that you can actually you can talk to. Which is what our goal for Empower is, and for having these conversations, I think to lay out, your own journey and speak to that. And for brothers to be like, actually, I felt that and I've been there and he looks, sounds like me. I can actually go with it and do that and achieve that. And a lot of positive comes out of it, but in terms of the sacrifices that have gone into it, They are immense, which is why I wanted to have this conversation with you. Cause I'm like, bro, you stepping away, like, cause I know what you put into it to get there, bro.
Yeah. And I think the part of that too is, man, like, too many people are either like forced out of a seat or like so burnt out that they can't do it anymore. And I believe that while I feel like there's definitely an element of burnout, I feel like I'm still walking away like very healthily, for as healthy as possible, right? I feel like um there's no burnt bridges, like families and kids and teachers are like happy. They feel reassured and like know that what the plan is going forward. And like at the same time, like I had a lot of time and intention to be a plan this, right? Like 2023, I remember telling uh my boss would be like, hey, I don't think I can do this anymore. And doesn't necessarily I don't want to be a part of this community. It's because I can't be a principal. Right? It's just not sustainable. And so not realizing, like trying to figure out what that looks like for me, whether it's creating a different role or whatever. And budget wise, like we're starting to place right now. I applied to grad school, didn't get that didn't work out. And like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's a sign from God that I need to just chill. Yeah. Chill for a little bit. And fortunate enough, don't have family, don't have kids, like I'm able to step away and have a little money saved up to be able to just like take it easy for a second and then figure out what this next chapter is. Yeah. But also grateful to be able to have a community of folks who like see my strength and see my ability and are able to like say, hey, you want to help me with this, or you want to be able to support with that. To be able to continue to keep this momentum and keep my passion going while I try to figure it out.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. And I think like even I think a huge strength of yours is for you to actually just be authentically like true to you and to speak about your path, which is why a lot of our black leaders that are in the Empower cohort, other leaders as well could they love hearing your story, and love being coached by you, bro. And I think what was interesting for me with bringing all this together with Empower was just to know that, bro, like almost every emotion I felt, everybody else has 20 years to anything, but how alone I felt at the time, and like, man, I can't do this. I just want to quit. And so I think that was the biggest piece for me. As you've had your experiences with Empower, and coaching other leaders. What would you say is the biggest thing have you brought from your experience to the table for the
Yeah, man. How you said, like black educators or black male educators are like 2% of all educators in the country, right? And so black principals are probably less than 1%. And I think black elementary school principals, black men elementary school principals, like I'm sure they're probably less than 100 in the country, Robbie. Like if we had to be real, I want to figure that out. So like, hey, look, if you're a black man and you're an elementary school principal, like let me know. I wanna be able to see that. Yeah, see that stat. But like being able to just be with people who look like you or sound like you, who like understand the invisible tax, right? Who may have come through, because a lot of us come from like a culture background, right? Where they're like, oh, you're a disciplinarian, you can get kids to do what they need to do, but like don't always see us as like thought leaders or um caring about academics as much or et cetera. And so being able to be in a space with other men who are like, yeah, like I experienced that too. Or like, I got passed up with this opportunity because of this, or they only see me as this and I really want to do that. Or whatever, being able to have that, or being able to understand this as a man in the space. Like it is hard leading a predominantly woman-led field. And like knowing like we just don't think similarly, right? And making sure we are able to like check ourselves and hold enough space for emotion. But on the flip side, also being able to be like, yo, like that's keeping us from being able to do XYZ, right? Or be able to hold all of it, right? That's hard. That's hard to do. And so be able to have a community of brothers be able to do that work, but also be able to push you and be like, hey, like here's a technical system what you need to work on, right? Or here's what one of your strengths is, bro, and like lean into that more. That's really special.
That's dope, bro. And as you spoke about invisible tax and, what has come out, this past year with conversations, you and I have had and we've had with other brothers is around, how tax out brothers really are, like mentally, physically. It's just conversations that, we need to elevate a lot more. And I hope to continue to do that with you. I say, bro, if you, as you walk away and just close out, what are like, three like bold things if your first year being a principal is sitting in front of you right now that you'll tell yourself.
Oof. Number one, make sure you eat. Make sure you eat, because I did not eat. I didn't eat during the day, but then when I went home, I was binge eating, and it was bad, bro. I got bad sweet tooth out of bread, bro. I like that's bad. First thing. Second, surround yourself with people who like you trust, like your people, and that can be other leaders, the rest of your leadership team, but also like whoever those people are in the building that you really trust, like continue to lean on them, like serve them, and like listen to them. But like everything else, tune that out. I think that I got really caught up in the opinions of everyone and making sure they were happy and like all that. And I think that took a lot of energy away from me that I didn't really have. And then the third, man, is continue to keep your priority the kids. I think that when I went into it, my thing was the kids, bro. All I cared about was the kids, and like ultimately at that being the priority helps make the decisions the right decisions, right? And I'm proud of that, but also I think that sometimes we can get caught up in all the adult stuff. Yeah. And so whatever that your priority is, and then most likely if you're working in the school building, it should be kids. Keep that your priority, the main thing. Keep that the main thing. You'll be happy with the result.
That's dope, bro. I think first, bro, thank you. Yeah, man, those for those conversations. We will have many more after this. And something that I'm taking away as I've heard you speak today is, you're right now, like you're just jumping out in faith right now. Where I'm taking away like this faith has to be bigger than fear. And yeah, I know personally, the position you're in. I just know how big of a leap that is, and that's the biggest takeaway. And the other thing is that you're more than enough. You spoke to this feeling of, at times it's not feeling that and just a silo when, they're, not having anybody to talk to and just taking away from myself. Like, hey, you're more than enough, and anybody out there listening as well. You're more than enough. That feeling that you feel, in your stomach that's telling you to continue to go on and to push or to do that thing, like do it, like believe in yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for creating the space for it. All right. I think, we were doing all the behind the scenes stuff and trying to set it up, and like we're running kind of low on time, but I was like, however much time we use, it's going to be powerful and for people, bro. I'm really grateful that we're able to do it and have more and more conversations and bring more brothers on to be able to like hear their experiences. Cause I think the more that people hear what the experiences are of Black male educators, they're able to better support us because it's the right mother created to you. So it's sort of excited about that.
But bro, better to support us and bro, get more Black men in the space
because
teach, bro, and the other leaders, bro. Yeah,
because bro, like I realized too that I never thought of myself as a teacher. Well, growing up, I thought I don't want to be a teacher because they don't make enough money. It just didn't seem appealing. But like when you realize that you can just be in a lot of different spaces in education and still be able to make an impact in your community, bro, like that's a really cool thing, and be able to help your family survive, right? Yeah. Like make good money. And now I know that the floor of how much money I can make is being a principal. Right. And so now I can do something more different things. Right. Like I can do so many more different things. Yeah. And like because I have this skill set, I can do so many other things. And so I really want to encourage a lot of other young brothers to do this.
Yeah. And representation matters. It goes back to, my first meeting with Patrick Dobar. I had never seen a Black man in that space with the amount of power that he wielded. He talked like me, bro. The conversations, it felt the same thing as I felt. And I'm like, damn, I can actually go and be that. And that actually was the driving factor of, my leadership journey. And, my whole goal is to just be access to power for other people. And so as I continue to build myself up, pulling folks up with me. And again, we'll continue to have these conversations, bro. And it was a pleasure, bro.
Well, appreciate you for show.
On my side, I can't get close.
Thank you for joining the MPower community and conversation today. Discussion we had today proves something powerful. When Black male leaders in education have the right community, the impact is exponential. continue to empower each other, empower your community, and multiply the love. Until next time, peace. My cousin in the field don't got no pads on no caught him murder. My auntie just gon' put her